Welcome back to PicklePatter, where we serve up a fresh slice of pickleball fun.
That's right.
Today we're going deep on something a little different.
Oh, yeah.
Pickleball rituals and superstitions.
Those little things you see out there on the court.
Yeah, you know those things players do that probably don't really make a difference?
Maybe.
But they feel absolutely essential to winning.
It's fascinating whether we admit it or not.
Yeah.
Most of us probably have at least one little quirk we do on the court.
Oh, absolutely. I'm Mark, part-time player, full-time believer in pickleball karma.
And I'm Raven, here to admit I tap the paddle for luck every single time.
Okay, so you're telling me, Raven, that tapping your paddle before each serve actually helps you hit those killer dinks?
Well, I can't say for sure that it's the paddle tap itself, but there's something about having that little routine that helps me get in the zone.
Okay.
Like a mental reset button.
I hear you. It's like those baseball players who adjust their batting gloves and tap their cleats a million times
Right.
before stepping into the batter's box.
Exactly.
It's all about finding that feeling of familiarity and comfort.
And speaking of comfort, what about those players who are obsessed with their paddle orientation?
Oh, yeah.
You know, the ones who have a designated forehand and backhand side
Right.
and check their grip like 100 times before each point?
Oh, yeah. I know some people who get really intense about that.
Yeah.
It's like their paddle has a right way to be held, and any deviation from that sacred alignment will result in a catastrophic loss of points.
Totally.
I even have a friend who won't let anyone else touch his paddle.
Oh, wow.
Like it's some kind of mystical artifact.
It's almost as if they've imprinted their energy onto the paddle.
Yeah.
And any outside interference could disrupt its delicate balance. But from a purely scientific perspective,
Yeah.
there's no evidence to suggest that one paddle orientation is inherently better than another.
Right.
It's probably more about the feeling of control and consistency that it provides.
Right. It's about finding that feeling of familiarity and confidence.
Yeah.
But sometimes those rituals go way beyond just paddle orientation. Have you ever seen someone tapping their heels before serving?
Heel tapping.
Yeah.
That's a new one for me. I wonder if it's related to footwork.
Totally.
Like a way to activate their muscles
Yeah.
and remind themselves to stay light on their feet.
Maybe it's like a mini warm-up for their feet.
Yeah.
It's like they're saying, okay, feet, get ready to move. It's showtime.
And speaking of getting ready for action, there's this guy at my local courts who announces the score in this very specific way.
Oh, really?
Every time he wins a point, he taps the ball twice on his paddle after saying the score.
Oh, wow.
So it's like 3-1 on 2, tap, tap.
I've seen that guy.
Really?
I thought it was just me who noticed.
Ah.
It's like he's putting his own personal stamp on the game.
Right.
And you know what? It's actually kind of endearing. It's like he's found his own little way to celebrate each point.
Yeah.
And stay focused.
It's his own personal victory dance. But sometimes those personal rituals can get pretty elaborate.
Oh.
Like pro player Anna Bright's serving routine. Have you seen that?
Oh, absolutely.
Pickle.
It's like a carefully choreographed performance.
Yeah.
She has this whole sequence of ball tosses, paddle twirls, and deep breaths.
Yeah.
And it all flows so smoothly into her serve. It's mesmerizing to watch.
It's a great example of how rituals can become part of a player's signature style. And speaking of personal touches, even the clothes we wear can become part of our pickleball rituals.
Totally.
Those lucky socks, shirts, hats.
Oh, yeah?
Some players swear by them.
Oh, yeah. I've got a friend who always wears this bright neon green visor when he plays. He says it helps him see the ball better.
Okay.
I'm not sure about the science behind that.
Right.
But hey, if it makes him feel more confident, who am I to judge?
Exactly. If it gives you a mental edge, even if it's just a placebo effect,
right.
It can't hurt.
So it seems like we've uncovered a whole spectrum of pickleball rituals, from the subtle to the downright bizarre.
For sure.
But here's what's really interesting to me. Why do you think people develop these habits in the first place? Is it all just superstition, or is there something deeper going on?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yes.
And that's exactly what we'll be unpacking in the next part of our deep dive. Welcome back to PicklePatter.
All right, so we've established that pickleball players are a superstitious bunch.
Yeah.
But is it all just about luck, or is there something more to these rituals?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, one thing that stands out about pickleball is the strong sense of community. It's a sport that attracts people from all walks of life, and there's a real emphasis on having fun and being social.
Absolutely. I mean, where else can you find a sport where people high-five after every point, whether they win or lose?
Exactly. And I think these rituals, even the quirky ones, play a role in strengthening those social bonds.
So you're saying that tapping paddles with your opponent before a game is actually a form of social bonding.
Think about it. When you tap paddles, you're acknowledging each other, creating a moment of shared connection. It's a nonverbal way of saying, hey, we're both here to have a good time. Let's play fair and respect each other.
That's a really interesting point. It's like a mini ritual that sets the tone for the entire game.
And it's not just about opponents.
Right.
You see players tapping paddles with their partners too, right?
Yeah.
It's a way of reinforcing that sense of teamwork and camaraderie.
Right. It's like a little, we're in this together pep talk, but without any words.
And these rituals can extend beyond the court as well. Think about all the post-game gatherings and social events that are so common in the pickleball community.
Oh, yeah.
These shared experiences further solidify those bonds and create a sense of belonging.
It's true. Pickleball is as much about the social connections as it is about the game itself.
Exactly. But let's circle back to the psychology behind these individual rituals.
Okay.
We've talked about the social aspect.
Yeah.
But what about the personal reasons why players develop these habits?
Well, as we discussed earlier, pickleball can be a pretty unpredictable game. There are so many variables at play, from the wind and the sun to the skill level of your opponents.
And you can't forget about the infamous pickleball bounce.
Oh, yeah.
That crazy, unpredictable bounce that can send the ball in any direction.
Right. So maybe these rituals are a way for players to create a sense of order and control in an otherwise chaotic environment.
That's a really insightful observation.
Right.
It's about finding those little things you can control, even when everything else feels out of your hands.
Like choosing which side of the paddle to use for your forehand or backhand.
Yeah.
It might not actually make a difference in how you hit the ball.
Right.
But it gives you a sense of predictability and consistency.
Precisely. And that sense of control can be really important for performance. When you feel more in control, you're likely to be more relaxed, focused, and confident.
And confidence is key in any sport, especially pickleball.
Absolutely.
When you believe in yourself and your abilities, you're more likely to take risks, try new shots, and ultimately have more fun.
It's that self-fulfilling prophecy we talked about earlier.
Right.
If you believe your lucky socks will help you win, you might actually play better because you're more relaxed and confident.
It's the power of the mind. But, even if these rituals don't have any magical powers, they can still serve a valuable purpose.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
They can provide a sense of comfort and familiarity, which can be especially helpful in pressure situations.
Think about those players who have elaborate pre-serve routines.
Yeah.
They might bounce the ball a certain number of times, adjust their grip, and take deep breaths. It's all about calming their nerves and getting into the zone.
It's like a mini meditation session before each serve.
Right.
And you know what? There's actually a lot of research to support the idea that rituals can help reduce anxiety and improve performance in all sorts of situations, not just sports.
So I'm not crazy for thinking that my pre-game paddle tap actually helps me play better.
Not at all. Studies have shown that rituals can help us focus our attention, regulate our emotions, and even boost our self-confidence.
That's fascinating. So these pickleball rituals might actually be tapping into some deep-seated psychological mechanisms. It's not just about superstition. It's about creating a mental framework that helps us perform at our best.
It's about finding those little things that give us a sense of order, control, and confidence in a world that can often feel chaotic and unpredictable.
Yeah.
And, that's something we can all relate to, whether we're pickleball players or not.
Absolutely. I think that's a great place to wrap up this part of our deep dive. But stay tuned, because in the final part, we'll explore what these rituals tell us about the future of pickleball and its growing role in our culture. Welcome back to PicklePatter for the final volley in our exploration of pickleball rituals.
We've covered a lot of ground from paddle taps to lucky socks.
We've uncovered some pretty fascinating insights into the psychology behind these quirky habits.
Yeah. What I find particularly interesting is what these rituals tell us about pickleball culture as a whole.
You're right. It's like these little quirks and traditions are a window into the soul of the sport.
Exactly. And one thing that really shines through is the sense of inclusivity and lightheartedness that kind of permeates pickleball.
Absolutely. It's a sport that welcomes players of all ages, skill levels, and backgrounds.
And there's a real sense of camaraderie and of fun both on and off the court.
You don't see a lot of trash talking.
No.
Or aggressive behavior in pickleball.
Right. It's more about having a good time making friends.
Yeah.
And maybe getting a little exercise in the process.
And I think these rituals, even the silly ones, contribute to that positive and welcoming atmosphere.
They're a way of expressing individuality and personality while also reinforcing the shared values of the pickleball community.
Like that guy we talked about who announces the score with a double paddle tap.
The 3-1-on-2 dot tap guy.
Exactly. He might stand out with his unique ritual, but it's all in good fun, and it actually adds to the entertainment value of the game.
And it's not just about individual quirks. There are also rituals that are more universal.
Yeah.
Like the paddle tap before a game.
Right. It's a simple gesture, but it speaks volumes about the respect and sportsmanship that are so central to pickleball.
It's a way of acknowledging your opponent as a fellow player and setting the tone for a friendly and competitive match.
And those shared rituals help to create a sense of belonging and tradition,
right,
which is especially important in a sport that's relatively new and rapidly growing.
It's like we're building a culture together, brick by quirky brick.
And as pickleball continues to evolve and gain popularity, I'm curious to see how these rituals will adapt and change.
Will we see new rituals emerge as the sport becomes more professionalized?
Or will the classic traditions like the paddle tap endure the test of time?
It's hard to say for sure.
Yeah.
But one thing is certain pickleball wouldn't be the same without these quirky and endearing rituals.
They add a layer of fun, personality, and community to a sport that's already pretty awesome.
So to all you pickleball players out there, keep on embracing those rituals, whether they're tried and true traditions or your own personal quirks.
Because they're a part of what makes pickleball so special.
And who knows, maybe they really do bring you good luck.
We'll never know for sure, but one thing's for certain. Pickleball is a sport where you can let your freak flag fly and have a blast doing it.
This has been a fascinating deep dive into the world of pickleball rituals and superstitions.
Thanks for joining us on this journey of discovery.
And remember, the next time you're on the court, pay attention to those little quirks and habits. You might just learn something about the players in the game, and maybe even yourself.
Until next time, keep on pickling.